think I'd like to see price break below this area here, which is around 2414.768. So if price breaks below it, then I will go to a much lower time frame like the 15 minutes time frame to catch an early entry, right? Just capitalize on this small move to the downside. As a matter of fact, there's a trend line that is coming on this forward time frame that is coming from the bottom here, 1 2. So that would be my target if we go to the 15 minutes time frame after price must have broken down below 2414.768, retest it on the 15 minutes time frame. Then my target will be this trend line and this 2390.827 area. So welcome back, guys. You can see how price came into that zone exactly 2414.768, and if you are taking advantage of that trade, you would have gotten here and probably your stop loss above here, and you would have made like a 5.73 to 1. That was a massive return, right? So now that we've seen what happened last week, let's look at what we should be expecting going into next week. First of all, I usually like to see how we close for last week. Oof. Looks like we closed with a bearish candle. All right, and price has been quite choppy around here, more bullish than bearish, of course. So on the daily time frame, we can see how price bounced off that trend line, and on Friday we saw a weak day. So what should we be expecting going into next week? Now, first of all, now the price has bounced off the third touch of this trend line, like I rightly predicted last week, which of course, if you are taking advantage of, you would have made some money from the sell and the buys, right? So you can basically see how price has broken back above here, retested it, and is pointing upward. Now, for the bullish target, my target remains 2483.667. All right, that's scenario one. And my second scenario will be for price to break below this zone, which is 2414.768. All right, so if that happens, we'll repeat the same play that happened last week. So what I mean is I'd like to see price break below 2414.768, come back for a pullback, and then I would like to see price drop back down. All right, this time for the bearish target. How I'm doing this, well, I can explain in one video or in this weekly video that is available in our mentorship program. But our bearish target is going to be 2363.250. That will be our bearish target. So bullish target here, bearish target down here. So that is that on gold. The next on my list is USDJPY. Let's say price next week breaks below 145.903, then this is where I'll switch to the lower time frames like the 15 minutes time frame, you understand, to catch an entry with my stop loss above 146.539. Welcome back, guys. If you're taking advantage of that trade, even though our target was all the way down here, at some point you would have floated around 4-1, as you can see here, reward to risk ratio right here. So what does that mean? Even though price didn't make it to our overall target, of course you would have still made some money, because you can't be floating 4-1 and still go and lose the trade, right? You probably would have locked in maybe 1-1 or 1-2 or 1-3, or as the case may be. In my case, I even like 2-1, so I probably would have even closed this trade way earlier before this pullback happened. Now that we've seen what happened last week, what should we be expecting going into next week? Now, before I do that, I usually like to look at the weekly time frame, right? So as you can see, price created a dodgy candlestick, a bullish dodgy candlestick last week. So we may see price eventually go for that pullback before we continue downward. All right, but how do we take advantage of this? I'm going to give a bullish and bearish scenario as usual. All right, so sorry that my chart is so clogged. I'm putting these lines on the chart so that I can actually pinpoint the actual price of those price region. All right, so skip the debt on my screen and focus on price. All right, so I would like to put a line above here, which is 147.844. So remember, like I said, from the weekly time frame, we may go for that pullback. So if price actually breaks above 147.844, I would like to see a new higher high created. Then I want to catch it on the pullback. Now on the pullback, you want to switch to a much lower time frames, of course, like the 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour time frame, depending on your preference. And then I want to see that pullback come into 151.394. All right, before we most likely continue lower. All right, so that's the bullish scenario. Then for the bearish scenario, I'm still going to be using this price region here, which is 145.903. All right, so what I mean is, for bearish scenario, I need you to be patient for price to continue lower. Now that it looks like we have a double top, and even the predominant trend is even bearish. All right, so this may most likely play out. So we have a double top, and now we'll wait for price to take out 145.903, create a new lower low, then we catch it on the pullback. Now you switch to a much lower time frame. From this 4-hour time frame, you need to switch to a much lower time frames, like the 15 minutes time frame or 30 minutes time frame. Catch an early entry, your stop loss above 146.539, and then we go for our swing move to our original bearish targets that remains 140.000. So those are the bullish and bearish scenarios going into next week. So the next on my list is DXY. Continue pushing lower, which is what may most likely happen, into 102.693 before we go for a pullback into either this region or this region. All right, before we continue lower. So welcome back, guys. You can see how price came into our initial target last week. Of course, there was a week below, but the body traded around that our initial target, and then we are beginning to see the pullback. So going into next week, what I'll actually like to see on DXY is the fact that I'd like to see price continue into this region here. All right, I want to see price come into this area before we continue bearish. Remember, my overall bearish target remains 101.657. All right, so I'd like to see price pull back into these areas of 103.711 before we continue bearish. Now that will be the bullish to bearish scenario. What if we just continue bearish next week? So guys, in my own case, with what I'm saying right now, I'd rather be patient for price to break below, all right, below 102.693. Then I'll wait for a pullback on the 15 minutes time frame or 30 minutes time frame, catch an early entry, and then trade into 101.657. All right, bearish, you have to be patient. Bullish, of course, this will be our target, 103.711, before we go bearish. All right, so that is that on DXY. But guys, if you've made it this far and you are yet to smash that like button or hit that subscribe button, please, that is the only way you can support this channel. Also do well to leave comments in the comment section down below. It's either maybe you agree with our analysis or you like to add to it. Use the comment section. And if you want to leave us good comments just for the good job that we are doing, leave a fire emoji in the comment section down below. Just encourage us, right? Encourage us. That's the only way you can support this channel. Thanks for doing that. Then let's continue. The next on our list is EURUSD. So next week, just like what I did on DXY, I'll be expecting to see price come into 1.09928 on EURUSD. That's my main target. So welcome back, guys. You can see how price tapped into 1.09928 before we saw this pullback. All right, so if you actually bought earlier, you would have made some money. And of course, if you had caught the sell from that target, you also would have made some money. So now what do we expect going into next week, guys? EURUSD is actually complicated at the moment, very, very complicated at the moment. So I'm just going to put a bullish and bearish. I'm going to explain a bullish and bearish scenario on this. So I'm just going to put this zone here. So for bearish scenario, which will just be a mere pullback, most likely, because DXY is super bearish, right? I'd like to see price break below this level here. Let me even put a line there for easier identification. Break below 1.08873. I'd like to see price break below that, then come back for a retest. Then we'll catch a short trade to this area here. Is going to be a very, very short trade because the dominant trend for now is super bullish, right? So this is just a bearish scenario. So for a bullish scenario, guys, just like I did on DXY, then I have to be super, super patient for price to take out this 1.09928. That would be a huge patience, right? So I'd like to see price take it out, then I'll catch it on the pullback on the 15 minutes time frame, right? Then we'll continue trading to the upside, which is what I'll most likely like to see happen. All right. So my overall target for now remains 1.11079. That's my bullish target on Euro USD. Then the next on my list is GBP USD. GBP USD is going against the trend right now. All right. GBP USD is going against the trend right now. Last week, I wanted to see this play out. That's if price agrees with DXY on GBP USD, and that didn't happen. Price continued moving against the trend. What I mean by against the trend, because of course on GBP USD it's moving in line with the trend, but by against the trend I mean it's not aligning with what DXY is doing. I hope you get the point, because trend wise on GBP USD, looking at GBP USD alone, of course price is moving in line with the trend, creating consistent higher highs and lower highs and lower lows. All right, but when I say it's going against the trend, I'm just saying it's going against DXY and even Euro USD in some type of way. All right. So my analysis remains the same. I'm going to give a bullish and bearish scenario as always. So for a bearish scenario, guys, I won't be selling within these two zones. So I would rather wait for price to come, show me bearish commitment, come and break below this zone. I know that we are in a bearish trend, but I just still want to be very, very careful, because for the fact that GBP USD is not conforming with what DXY is doing, the move when it chooses to align with DXY will be super, super, super massive. All right, so that's why you have to be careful. All right, and that's why I will not be selling within these levels here. So I'd like to see price create a new lower low, breaking below this solid zone that I've had here for a while. Then I'll catch it on the pullback, and then it's going to be a short trade to the downside, which is my bearish target will be 1.25904. All right, then my bullish target still remains the fact that I'd like to see a new higher high created. All right, in this case that higher high will be above, let me even use here. Of course, you have to be very, very patient for this to happen. Or let me even delete all of this. I think that analysis is not accurate like I want it to be. So my bullish scenario will be for price to break above 1.28156. Then I'll catch it on the pullback on the 15 minutes time frame. Stop loss below, take profit above here, which is 1.30000. All right, that will be my bullish target. Long move to the upside. All right, so those are my bullish and bearish scenarios on GBP USD. So the next on my list is EURJPY. So I'd like to see a proper break below 159.492, a proper break below it. Remember, I'm doing this analysis on the daily time frame. So a proper break on of this 159.492, then we'll wait for the pullback on the 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour time frame, or 4 hour time frame, depending on your preference. All right. So wait for the pullback, then we'll trade into this zone here, which so welcome back, guys. Even though price didn't make it into our overall target on EURJPY, at some point price floated for over 4 to 1 hour. All right. So even though price pulled back on us, I don't think you will allow price pull back on you at 4 to 1 reward to risk, right? You may probably would have secured maybe 1 to 1, or even at worst case, maybe at break even. All right. So, but for me, I probably would have closed this trade at 2 to 1. I don't trade Euro USD, by the way, but if I was and I took advantage of this, I would have secured my profit at 2 to 1. I just like 2 to 1s. All right. But that is that. What do we expect going into next week? So you can see our price tapped into our target on the weekly time frame, gave us a massive rejection, closing with a massive dodgy candlestick, right? Let's look at what we look like on the daily time frame. Let me delete all of these, by the way. I don't think I have any analysis on the daily time frame, so I'll just go to the 4 hour time frame and do exactly what I did on on USDJPY. So I'm just going to put a line here. Once again, forget about these messy lines you see on my charts. Let me even delete some of them. All right, so I'll give a bullish and bearish scenario in this case. So for my bullish scenario, if we're going for a pullback, I'd like to see price from this point. I'll be patient enough for price to create a new higher high, breaking above these double tops here. Then I'll catch it on a pullback, which of course I'll switch to a much lower time frames like the 15 minutes time frame or 30 minutes time frame. a small tight stop loss, then my target will be around here. It's going to be a short move, but a massive move on a lower time frame. All right, so my target will be 163.704. But remember, the predominant trend is bearish. So if we continue bearish, I'd like to see price create a new lower low, breaking below this neckline of this double top. Then I'll catch it on the pullback, which is around 159.492. My stop loss would be above here, which is around 160. Let me even put a line there, which will be around 160.388. And my target will now be here, which is 154.920. So those are my bullish and bearish scenarios on Euro JPY. So there you have it, guys, the analysis for this week. If you are yet to subscribe, please do so now. Like, share, comment. Please comment. All right. And again, if you want to take your trading to the next level, if you want to be able to do all of these stuffs, because of time constraints on these YouTube videos, I cannot really dive deep into how I determine these levels and how I do my analysis. So if you want to take your trading to the next level and be able to do all of these good stuffs, you know what to do. Enroll in our mentorship program. Our mentorship program is kicking off properly next week. All right, next week, Monday. So do yourself a favor and enroll. And if you are not interested, that's super cool. To make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, share this video. And I wish you a successful trading week. And I'm going to see you in our next video.